Assemble! Stay dandy, baby. Only 9 episodes into the 2020 adaptation of the Digimon Adventure anime series, and we're already seeing ultimate level Digimon. The bar has officially been raised, and this was a really satisfying episode, and a very simple one at that, as it was essentially Orgemon having a big final battle with the Digidestined, in particular Taichi and Greymon. This was an awesome episode, which absolutely dwarfed anything from the original Digimon Adventure adaptation. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. So first and foremost, the episode actually opens up with finally the big reappearance of none other than Devamon, who basically tells Orgemon, look, you pretty much have one more chance. If you can't defeat these kids, I'm going to bring in someone who can, and pretty much you know the price of failure. So Orgemon is officially super pissed. He decides to immediately jump into battle with the Digidestined, and he challenges Taichi and Greymon, respectively, and a massive battle ensues. So, let me just say first and foremost, that the actual fight itself, while not the most well-animated thing that I have ever seen, is incredibly better than anything from the original Digimon anime series. Not only that, but there's this level of intensity to it that I've never seen from Digimon before. And I need to reiterate, I haven't really watched all of the Tri movies or anything, so there's probably stuff in that's probably on par with stuff in this episode, and probably even better than that. But this is a version of Orgemon that I did not expect to see, because in the original Digimon series, especially the one that I watched in America with the English dub, Orgemon was essentially a doofus. He was just kind of like a goofy, dumb villain who got beaten every single time, and there was not really much more to the character outside of the fact that he was essentially just like a one-off villain who was just played for laughs. He was a joke type of character. He really wasn't much of a threat to the Digidestined. Here, he actually comes across as a very devastating and scary creature, and his battle with Greymon is very ferocious, to say the least, with both of them not only utilizing their claws and their teeth and their freaking signature attacks in battle, but the fact that he's willing to go so far just to not only prove himself to Devamon, but to show that he's just as strong as any of these characters. And he utilizes a lot of really cool techniques, such as this one massive punch, which I believe is called the How Ken. Basically, he just makes a giant fist and fires it forward, and it creates like this giant ethereal purple hand, which just sort of flies like a freaking missile. It looks really cool, and to be honest, I don't remember seeing anything like that from the original Digimon. Maybe my memory's hazy, maybe he did use something like that, but it was really awesome to actually see that in this episode. It was really damned cool. But then all of a sudden, we get a nice twist in the episode where it looks like he's going to be defeated suddenly by Greymon when suddenly another Digimon decides to attack, and it's an ultimate level Digimon who goes by the name of Metal Tyranomon. And I think this is pretty cool. I don't know if it's actually the same Tyranomon that we saw from the previous episode that got an upgrade, the Dark Tyranomon. Either way, it's here, and it's freaking creepy looking. It's got this like weird sort of zombified, deadened look in its eyes that reminds me of like Shin Godzilla, just this giant walking force of nature that is not going to be stopped by anything. And of course, it devastates not only Orgemon by completely crushing him with one foot, but completely overwhelms all of the Digidestined with its extreme power. Even Koshiro returns to actually join the group and help them out, and he realizes how much stronger this thing actually is and how they don't really stand much of a chance against it at all. It's a really, really great display of where the ultimate level Digimon are going to be like here, and they truly make them pretty monstrous. Now, the fact that we've been introduced to an ultimate level Digimon this early in the series made me think maybe we're finally going to get like the ultimate level evolution in this episode. It could potentially happen, and there was a few times where I thought it truly was. It looked like Greymon was going to eventually turn into Metal Greymon from the original series a number of times, but every single time that it's about to happen, Metal freaking Tyranomon just ends up like wrecking their world. It is insane, to say the freaking least. And what I think is a really nice twist, Orgemon realizes that he's essentially been replaced by this brand new powerful Digimon. There's no longer a need for him to be the pawn of Devamon, and this basically pisses him off to the point where he actually decides to attack it and ends up just getting annihilated, but not before basically creating a path for Taichi and his friends to escape and leading them to the holy Digimon that they have actually been looking for. So, in a nice twist of the episode, Orgemon is basically outright killed in this episode, and it's completely different than anything from the original series, being a little bit more mature in its nature, and I have to say, because of that, it made it a lot more satisfying, especially someone who grew up watching the original show. In a way, it's sort of grown up with me, and it's given me something a little bit deeper and better than the original series. So, what's the rundown on this episode of Digimon Adventure? Basically just a no-holds-barred Digimon battle episode, which was kind of what I was really hoping for and waiting to see, and it was really damn satisfying to say the least. I do think it's interesting, though, that we're already throwing Ultimate-level Digimon into the story at this point, especially considering the fact that it's very clear that all of these evil Digimon are being led by Devimon, and Devimon himself isn't even Ultimate level. He's a Champion-level Digimon, so clearly they're doing some things a little different with this show and the way that things are actually going to work. I mean, maybe Devimon is just like a really overly powerful champion Digimon. Maybe he's going to actually like evolve into something more powerful as the actual series goes on. Maybe there's something a little more to Devimon. Maybe for him, you know, the levels of a Digimon don't really mean anything. Maybe I'm reading into it a little too much too, but still, it's a really crazy thought that we're already bringing these things in. And like I said throughout the episode, I thought that Greymon was going to become Metal Greymon throughout the episode. If you look at the preview, it might be happening a little sooner than we actually think. They don't really try to hide it all that much. We actually do get some hints to it in this episode, and I think it's pretty apparent in the next one. They're actually going to be going toe-to-toe with Metal Tyranomon again, and we're actually going to see him go through that process. It is also really cool that we have almost the entire team finally together here, almost all of the Digidestined. We're still waiting on Yamato's younger brother, and I'm not sure if they're gonna, you know, break the mold a little bit and introduce Taichi's little sister into the group right now, or if they're gonna do what they did in the original series and sort of wait to bring her in a little bit later. I'd say that's a spoiler warning, but this is a readaptation of a classic series, so there's not that much more to spoil. Really, the only difference here is that they're managing to change up the storyline and some of the characters and the way that they're executed, and this right here, I think, was a really great way of doing all of that, especially with the story arc of Orgemon, which I felt in the original show got really tired very quick. Like I said, he was sort of the bumbling oaf kind of character, and here he came across as way more ferocious and terrifying than anything that was portrayed in the original series. That and the fact that he had a lot of really just doofy dialogue in the original show, and here he barely talks at all, almost never speaking full sentences, basically just being this, you know, sort of monster that's driven by instinct, so to speak, and that made him way more interesting, and combined with his overall design and look, I think matched a lot better. So, overall, I thought that this was a really great episode of Digimon Adventure and one of my favorite episodes of this brand new adaptation thus far, and I can't wait to see where it's going next as everybody's finally starting to get a little bit stronger and a lot earlier on in the series. Big changes are going on in this adaptation, and it's completely different than anything from the original show. So, I loved this episode. Like I said, one of my favorites. I do think that some of the animation moments could have looked a little better, especially in some of the speed and some of the artwork, so I'm going to drop the episode down just a little bit to a 4 out of 5, but otherwise I thought this was a really strong episode of Digimon Adventure. But you heard my thoughts about the episode. I want to hear from yours. Make sure to tell me what you thought about this episode of Digimon Adventure in the comment section below. If you liked this video, digivolve to your ultimate form and hit that like button. It helps out these videos and it's really easy to do, so please make sure to do that. I would also like to thank all of my patrons who have been checking out my Patreon page. You guys are pretty freaking awesome. Not only have you been donating to the channel, but remember, every single time you do make a donation, I will review an anime series of your choice. So make sure to check that out. I would also love to add your name to this amazing list of people who are continuing to support my channel. So thank you guys so much for watching this review. I'll see you all next time. And as always, stay down there, baby.